Greetings, everybody. We welcome all of you back again for yet another episode of the Rainmakers podcast. Today, I'm going to speak about something very interesting, that is venturing into the digital age and looking into see how a person can benefit and strengthen their brand and their organization's brand in the digital space. How to tell stories that evoke emotions, build connections, build trust, and through that, how we can make a difference. And also, we venture into the gaming industry too, where we left off. We pick up where we left off, and we are going to speak to a gaming streamer who's going to tell all about gaming and gaming streaming and so on and so forth. Of course, I have to introduce the co-host. She is a lawyer. She's a lecturer, and also she is Sri Lanka's first certified success trainer. Dona Balasuriya, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much, Yoga. It's such a great pleasure as always.
Fabulous. Now to our guest. Chase D is no stranger to great storytelling. He was once the host of the primetime evening show at TNL Radio and host at MTV Sports. Currently uses the experiences he has gained in the media industry to help his clients make an impact in the digital media space. Also, he is the founder of Lankan League and an eSports events brand, a Facebook gaming streamer, and a co-host at the What the Pod talk show. Like many of the guests here before, when I read these introductions, I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Because all these introductions are so great and they are doing so many different things. So, welcome, Chase, to the podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Fabulous, fabulous. So the discussion today is nothing but about making our impact on the digital space and how we can have some pro tips in order for us to venture into the digital space and own it and be successful in it. As always, let's go to Donna for the first question. Donna?
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Yoga. You can
Yeah,
hear me?
go ahead. Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, of course, this is one of my the topics, the particular digital marketing. This topic is such a very confusing topic right now in this time of the day, because that we always say that there is a great impact that it carries in the society today, yet most of us are really confused and lost as to how to go about it. Because I do have an Instagram page, I do have a Facebook page, and I very very often get so many messages saying, would you like to improve your Instagram account, and etc., right? So I would want to know, Chase, what is your stance, what is the impact that digital marketing has in the changing world?
Um, I think that's where you got to understand the fact is the world is constantly changing. The fact that if you take in the last decade alone, or even just before that, if you take Facebook, Facebook was instrumental in bringing in President Obama into office. You had Twitter, which brought in the Arab Spring. Uh, and now with the pandemic, you have TikTok, which is mainly, it's revolutionizing entertainment consumption.
Yeah.
We've gone from watching documentaries, which is like an hour long, to now consuming just a 1 minute of content, to even less, 15 seconds of content. The digital space is something which is constantly changing. And one of the most important things is trying to be in the know, in the sense, if you're an organization, ideally, you would want to have someone who is internal, or even someone who is a freelancer who can actually guide you through the current trends, because it's constantly changing. YouTube is something which has so much potential that in Sri Lanka, it's very limitedly used. Because you can take it to the Sri Lankan context. Even though we have had access to Facebook since 2007, and all other social network platforms, we are very late adopters into social media. So I think if you are to really think about it, it's something just constantly changing, and it is something that will always. It's very hard to put a pin on it, because what is today's social media is outdated tomorrow, and it's something new which comes in. It's pretty much just about people wanting to connect with one another, and sometimes it is for them to build a following with the in using storytelling, and sometimes it is them just being consumers. So it's very twofold.
Fabulous. I really love those examples, Chase, of the Arab Spring and also the campaign of Barack Obama, the world's, or rather, the world's greatest leader, let's say. I
Let's
think we all can disagree for all of that, right? So
agree
what
to
we will,
disagree with the audience. I don't
yeah,
think that it's something that, let's not go down that
yeah.
road.
So I was first thinking whether to call it the greatest country in the world. Then I was like, let's not go there. Then I had to say something. Yeah. So
Good save.
so it's like it's there is no way out when you get in that direction. Amazing examples, Chase. I also agree how there was a time when people read newspapers, and that was the big thing, and then the television came into picture, and then that was the big thing. But then we have evolved from there, and the ad spend in newspapers, television, and even billboards, all of them have gone down,
Yeah.
whereas the digital marketing has skyrocketed even during the pandemic, and it has become nothing but amazing. So fabulous there. So the next question I would like to ask there, Chase, is we all have now come to believe that um, what is digital marketing is to open up a page, open up your personal account, do some boosting, and that's that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are only few organizations, few people, they really tell stories. What marketing is to tell stories and make a connection, right? We don't buy from organizations that have the best ad spend, but from people who make a connection, from organizations which make a connection. So question is, what is the importance of storytelling in digital marketing?
It's very important. The thing is, also very twofold, because you have two different markets. Just in Sri Lanka alone, you have the Colombo candy down south market, which is you have, let's say, the English niche, so to speak,
Right.
which would where storytelling is more important because you're consuming more international content. You're more in tune with pop culture.
Right.
Then you have the mass, which it works, just boosting, putting a post up,
Yeah.
just putting up the same commercial that you're making for TV, just putting it up there and just pushing it. It works.
Yeah.
So it depends again on your target audience. You have your
Right.
TGs, like for
Yeah.
example, what a traditional media has is, for example, from LMRB, you have your AB, you have the A, B, which agencies use. So just like
Right.
that, you also kind of need to like segregate that. Also, when it comes to your content as well on online, and storytelling would actually allow you to engage better with your audience, even as a personal brand. If you more often than not, if you, for example, follow, let's say, someone who is a known figure, who's maybe an actor or an actress, more often than not, or even a musician, more often than not, you would see them talking about, there's a lot of behind the scenes which
Right.
they do beyond the basic of what a product is. The
Right.
music is their product, but then they would talk about the behind the scenes, maybe going to recordings,
Right.
the things that they're doing, how they engage with family, friends. And
Right.
that's kind of also what you want to do, even when it comes to your corporate world, how you
Right.
engage internally.
Right.
And being able to create something out of that it's something which a lot of people don't do. A lot of corporates, because they are very dare I say it, archaic in their thinking,
Yeah.
tend not to, and then they would go with what you said. You know what? Let's do a 1 million rupee
Boosting.
TVC. Or a TVC, and then we'll boost
Yeah.
it for about 100,000,
Right.
and which is a very small amount
Correct.
compared to how much you're investing in radio and television. And now, to be honest, digital is expensive.
Right. True.
Right? So yeah, storytelling, I would say without a doubt, is very important, but it's about how you're able to use it that will be very fitting of your brand or
Right.
your product. And that's where you can actually engage, which you see a lot of startups doing, a lot of cakeries, even, for example, tend to use this a lot. Being able to engage and show that BTS, which people then start consuming, engaging, which can lead to a future purchase.
That's right. So, Chase, can you give us a few examples of people who have done it right? Organizations and people who have done it right, who are great storytellers in different platforms in the digital world.
I think there's like a few people, especially like on Instagram, who tend to do this, and they do it with their personal brand. Um, I guess someone which a lot of people do know is Bakes by Bella. It's a brand. I know that we are also collaborating with them on something else. But if you look at the content aspect of it, that is sort of what you want to push. If you look at the most recent content, would be how the ground up process works. Another brand, I think, just off the top of my head, if I just take even I think those who would be, again, just personalities, just as a whole. Sasha, she's a TV personality as well, and she's now been developing her Instagram and her TikTok, making engaging content because she's an entertainer. Those sort of content that she spits out makes absolute sense, which also allows her to do more brand collaborations.
Right.
I believe the brand is, I think it's AGC Concept.
Okay.
I think I'm not in. I can't remember exactly. It's a furniture.
Right. If somebody knows, maybe
company.
they can comment and then we can
Yeah,
take it from there.
yeah. It's also another one which I've noticed that tends to do that.
Right.
Then you have like
Fabulous.
your bigger brands which have campaigns which kind of like work in along those lines.
Right.
But those are more TVC based, and I think the best campaign right now, which was done digital wise in promoting even like their own internal app, was something which Avocado did.
Yes.
And that was tremendous. They did in collaboration with Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola, being the brand that they are, which they like to, they focus a lot on youth. Their focus is on joy.
Right.
It's not their product; it is on an emotion,
Correct.
and
Beautiful.
that is how they've been able to build their campaigns. And I think that campaign with Avocado, which they did, worked very well with their brand.
Yeah, that's true. Beautiful examples. Beautiful examples, Chase. Jonah?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, of course, I was very much engrossed in like what you were saying, Chase. Well, if now they have so many examples of different um, social media influencers. Um, I myself was wondering how there are millions and millions of followers, and they're massively influencing the world around us, and the marketing to different aspects in the society. So, what are your pro tips that would give in order social media brand?
Be honest. Be you. I think more often than not, what happens is the term influencer is not something which a lot of people who actually influence like to use.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, it's a very it's an eggshell topic in the sense that you can offend a few people who are probably influencers.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing is I think Gary Vee is the best person who said it. What he said was grind in your field for a set amount of years, 5 to 10 years, and then start talking about it. That's actual influencing. We are caught in this. There's this thing where there is those who can influence in the larger scale, and then there's those who can influence in the macro scale. So it depends on where you want to go. Do you want to be a macro influencer, or do you want to be an influencer who can talk to the masses about certain topics? One of the biggest topics right now, even YouTube themselves, YouTube's algorithm is very interesting because it keeps constantly evolving, just like Facebook. If you are a financial analyst and you have the expertise, start a YouTube channel, because YouTube right now is pushing finance a lot and wealth management, because it's
Oh,
one of the
let's go
sought
for that.
after topics right now.
I'm very
So
happy to know that, Chase.
yeah, so
Of course, we have a
you should
64 here, so
probably,
here we go. The next thing we know.
yeah, there you go. Because that's the thing, right? More often than not, when you build a following which is just made of very superficial context,
Yeah.
the followers which you get more often than not don't necessarily translate into being able to get who are able to make purchases from what you're doing. So what you create is, as a brand, if you're collaborating with the influencer, you're just creating noise and brand awareness. And brands more often than not are pretty happy with that,
Yeah.
because that's kind of like where they're going with it. Then you have those who are individuals who start talking about things. Like, for example, NFTs, non-fungible tokens. This is
Yes.
something which right now, if someone who knows about it, if they can actually talk about it right now, there's so much people who are willing to listen to you. Just like cryptocurrency was at one point. Even still, cryptocurrency is something which people don't know about. And that's the important thing. It's about having the knowledge and not being afraid to share it. That's how you can actually create influence.
Fabulous. Fabulous. First of all, I
Wow,
liked
thank you very
how
much. Because,
you started with saying be honest, right? Yeah, Donna, do you agree? Yeah, that was a
of
beautiful
course,
way to
very much,
begin, because
very much.
yeah, what we have is a lot of people trying to be something and
Yeah.
not being that. I liked how you didn't want to offend anybody. Also, Chase, I have to say, I think a lot of your friends are joining in, and
It's actually a lot of the people
gaming
from our
streamers.
gaming channel. Yes, yes, we
Yeah,
got Gabby, Roy, and Laura who actually joined
yeah,
in.
yeah. So when we spoke to Chase, what he said is, when everybody sleeps, I'm awake and I'm working, and that's what it proves. Somebody just I think it's Gabby who came in and said hi, good morning, which means like
Yeah,
this is when he operates. Yeah,
she's in Los Angeles, so
fabulous. So thank you
yeah,
very much for everybody who's joining in. Right? Okay, fabulous. So we spoke about the impact digital marketing has had, importance of storytelling, and we spoke about some examples which are very good. And also we spoke about how what are the tips to build a brand. Chase, one of the problems we have is what we see or what we show in the social media world, digital space. What we get are absolutely two different things,
yeah.
right? So it's not only in eBay where we order something and we get something else, or not only in on Tinder where we go to meet somebody and then it's an absolutely different.
Someone else.
Yeah,
You kind of get catfished there. Yeah.
exactly, right. But it's also in organizations and what they offer and people that we follow. Trust is a bigger problem. So the right way to do is, following up from your previous question where you wanted us to be honest, how to build trust in a world where a lot of people are trying to be everything, and trust takes a backseat. How would you say to build trust, and what is an example that maybe you can maybe share?
I think one of the best examples of that are streamers.
Right.
More
Staying
often
true to.
than not, it's ironic that we're going there, but
Yeah.
more often than not, what you see is what you get majority of the time. There are exceptions, of course. There are those who actually put up, who create like a persona, but that is like the character which they go with.
Right.
But it is, if you really look at it, more often than not, everyone messes up. A brand will make a mistake. You will have some sort of public outcry.
Right.
What they want to see is steps taken for them to have actually resolved the problem. A good example. Let's not even go that far. Customer
Right.
service matters so much in the
Right.
digital space as well.
Right.
Just like a call center, now you get. So I work with a brand which is in FNB, and they get about 200 to 400 messages a day. And FNB is a place where you can make mistakes and things happen. So important thing is when there's a crisis, apologize, own up to it, and then afterwards try to see how you can resolve it. It goes across the board, even with multinationals, but more often than not, what you tend to see is influence and money talks,
Right.
or suppresses, I think
Right.
is the right way of saying it.
Right.
And then because you're not really left with that many options, you still go with it, because more often than not, a lot of products in Sri Lanka has a very monopolized structure to it.
Right.
Um, but if there's another option available where people can build trust, that will definitely be something which they'll go for. That is what makes for entrepreneurs, small businesses, is because they're able to build that trust with their clientele,
Right.
and be very down to earth, be warm, and be able to always respond when there is some sort of inquiry coming in, or even when it comes to a crisis, on how you manage it. That's very important.
Right.
It's the same thing, if you take politics as well, you just shrug it,
Yeah.
move on to something else, and make some more noise, so you forget about the other thing. But people actually remember.
Yeah.
It's the same thing even with brands. More often than not, try to avoid making noise, and try to fix that problem, resolve it, and then move on. And some
Yeah.
organizations have done that, and with
Correct.
that, you do see people having more respect for them, because right now, um, social media is it's a place of a lot of hollow vessels, and a lot of
Yes.
people make a lot of noise. You
Correct.
mess up, a lot of people are gonna come at you.
At you.
In any form. It can be Twitter, it could be Instagram, it can be even on Facebook. A good example of something like this which happened was a very popular e-commerce website, which has been there for years,
Right.
made a very big blunder last
Yeah.
year.
Yes.
And one of the most important things was for them to provide refunds.
Yeah.
Many people said that refunds weren't made on time, and some people had to wait for over a month or more, and then they couldn't really get in touch with the organization. So when those sort of things kind of happen, you lose trust. And what did that do? That allowed a business which was into, let's just take the person who was into flowers. They were into flowers. They were able to build their business and create a completely different vertical, and now they're thriving.
True. Very
So
true.
this is
Beautiful.
where trust
Beautiful
is
example.
important.
Beautiful example. I think this examples this example is very close to our heart because it just happened a year back and it happened right here in this soil. So yes, on this
Yeah.
also definitely
Yeah.
that proves how important trust is. But Chase, on that question, I would like to ask one more question just to add on to it. That is this: one of the problems why even people who usually don't in real life show off, or brands that don't show off, or they feel like they have to do it because everybody else is doing it. So in the short run, what it feels like is my life is nothing because I see everybody else having fabulous life, or all the other brands are having a great, like making doing great things. So I have to step up also. So, how would you suggest to anybody that who's starting up a startup maybe to stop not doing that and be your own self? It's a tough sell, I'm sure. How would you suggest it?
It is. I think the first and most important thing is to create your own roadmap as to what you want to achieve, like your own goals. Then, based on that, you have to understand that being an entrepreneur, there are these memes which go around, right? The entrepreneur startup package, where it's a Apple Watch, Apple, an iPhone, a MacBook Air,
Yeah,
and driving a Tesla. That's
yeah,
like you need to understand that uh, that while those things are great, if you can achieve those, because everyone starts up an organization at different points in their life.
correct.
Some may have actually gone through maybe 30 years of experience, work. They're
Yeah,
at a very good financial place where they can invest more than maybe what you can. I
right,
think the most important thing is understanding what your reality is
correct.
and then playing to that music
Right,
instead of trying to play to someone else's music.
right,
Um, and small wins go a long way.
right. Definitely.
It goes an absolute long way. And cherish those, because as time goes on, as you grow bigger and bigger, you will forget to cherish the small wins because you'll be
Correct.
going for the bigger and bigger wins. So
True.
I think the most important thing is uh, play at your own pace. One, two, um, work on your marketing, of course, and build on it, and show people how you are achieving these great things. Because then the people who will be your biggest fans will always be the strangers
Right.
who will be able to relate to what you're doing as a brand, as a startup, as a personality even. So it depends. Like now, I think if you take which everyone's now talking about, the new tech entrepreneur is Elon Musk, right?
Right.
There was a time it was Steve Jobs, Steve Jobs, Steve Jobs, and now it's Elon, Elon, Elon. Um, People rally behind the person rather than the SpaceX brand or the Boring Company brand, because uh, same thing even with Apple. People were rallying behind Steve Jobs. They weren't rallying behind Apple because of the product that he created. Though you had a few hundred people probably working on it, it's he who created it, to the eyes. So it's about how you communicate it too, and then you're able to build on that. That is why a person like Elon now, if he says this cryptocurrency is the next best thing, you
Dogecoin, he said. Yeah.
we're doing full circle now, influence,
Yeah.
and then the masses will go to it.
Right.
So do it at your own pace and build and see how you want to build. You want to build it as a brand, or do you want to build it around you, or as to which way it will work better? And sometimes trial and error is always the best way to go.
Fabulous, fabulous, amazing answers. I love them. Also, I have to say, your friends are having a gala time. They are also giving you an option for later. They are asking whether you are wearing anything but the suit today. So yeah, that is the question for you to answer later. Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe a streaming on that subject. Different story.
yeah,
Let's bring in Donna.
Yeah, I think the question that I have is very, very, very relatable to what you just said, Trace. Like, when you look into social media, you see so many gimmicks and show. I mean, you see people, the influencers that we call as influencers, in front of super cars and then have your life all the time. So, what I really want to know is, what is the important relatability in brand building, and how to not let this showmanship or the gimmicks kill the relatability over the internet.
That's I think probably the hardest question that you've asked so far. Um, it's the thing is, okay, so it's very twofold what you're asking. One is you're looking at it on the influencer's point of view of supercars and whatnot. More often than not, what you're doing there is clout. You know, you have something luxurious. What you try to show is that you're rich.
Yeah.
So what they're trying to do is the more richer brands that they're aligned with, the more chances that they'll be able to make a better income out of those sort of brands. How relatability is again, uh, we live in a world of everyone constantly being very envious of the things that other people have. If we don't have to look at social media, even before that, it was true. It's just that social media has now amplified it. Um, if you are a brand, of course, trying to relate, it is very important. I think a brand that has done amazing in relatability is Red Bull as a multinational, as an international brand. What they did was they stopped talking about the energy drink, and they started instead collaborating with into F1, to motorsport, and just motorsport, extreme sports. Extreme sports was something which was also, skateboarding, BMX bikes, dirt bikes. These were also things which were taboo in its own day and age. And what they did was they were able to relate with lifestyle of people having similar lifestyles. So a brand ideally would want to see how they can more often than not incorporate to lifestyle, which goes back to us going into even Coca-Cola as well. If you look at top tier brands, if you look at mobile brands right now, they don't talk about, this is the processor, this is the amount of RAM. They don't talk about the technical aspects. What they talk about is the lifestyle. What the Samsung Note is meant for the businesswoman or the businessman or the entrepreneur. Then you have the iPhone, which is, it is all of that and it's fun. So that is what a lot of organizations are now going for. So you want to be able to create a lifestyle. Everything is lifestyle, right? From the clothes that you wear, from maybe the headsets that you're wearing, the even the choice of your webcam can be, this is, I want to go for this because this is the best, or I know that this is a brand that I want to support. Even sometimes, even your web browser, you might not be using Chrome, you might be using Opera or Firefox because you trust in those brands. But if you notice, everyone and anyone, they're going lifestyle related. And with that, you get that subtle push of also pushing it through Instagrammers as well, or influencers, or TikTokers, that lifestyle. And I think that what you see better now is better lifestyle curated content coming out on TikTok as opposed to Instagram. Because if you see those, again, this is some of like the international brands, they would work around the skits because some of these TikTokers tend to create like their own little stories, and they will then incorporate the product into that story, just like how a music video will incorporate an energy drink or a certain type of beverage to it. And so that's kind of like how you want to place yourself, which is a very hard thing. It's not something where you can be like, flick of the switch, hey, you know what, I know how to do it. If you are a business, get involved with agencies, with creative agencies. I think that's also something which, get involved with agencies who have a very good creative mind, and at the same time have someone who's internal who also understands digital marketing, so that the two will then have better synergy versus the agency having to do everything for you. I think that's where we rely, we offload everything onto the agency, and without, and it's unfair on them too, because they have to understand and study your entire product without the guidance of what the internal aspects of it is. And always having an internal digital marketer really does help in being able to synergize it.
Fabulous.
Thank you very much, Trace. I think now we are shifting on to a different topic. Yoga. Would you like to do the honors?
Yes, of course. I think we
Yeah.
fell in
Because
love
as you
with
said,
gaming.
Chase is
He is
Yeah.
multifaceted, and we have agreed on that. Yeah, yeah. I think how he answered those questions were very interesting too. He brought in examples from everywhere in the world, and he shared things that are interesting. So if you assume, if anybody who's watching now or
yeah,
later
absolutely.
assume
Love it so
that
much.
he's only a digital marketer, then you're wrong, absolutely wrong. Now we venture into gaming because we loved gaming so much. We spoke to Mazin Hussein last week, and he's a gaming enthusiast. He spoke a lot about gaming, so we thought, why not we take it from there and speak to somebody who is not only a gaming streamer but also somebody who has founded a company that is into events brand management, events organization, and so on and so forth. Chase the gamer now. Tell us about gaming streaming. Tell us about how you got into it, what brought you here. I'm sure one of the things that pushed you here is definitely the pandemic. So tell us about gaming streaming and where you do it and what brought you here, and enlighten us about this virtual world where I think you thrive and made good friends and a lot of connections there.
Wow. Okay. I will try to be as concise as possible in this. So, how it all actually started was with a. I wanted to actually do a gaming TV show. Um, so I reached out to a very reputed company here, and they wanted to go in a different direction. My forte is I am more English fluent than I am Sinhala, so so they wanted to go down a different road, which they never actually did even execute that. So a point of it was a moment of frustration, just being like, you know what, I don't need this. I don't need people to be shooting down my ideas. I'm going to do it myself.
Right.
When a door, sometimes when a door closes, you just got to make a door and open it. And that's kind of like how it happened. So so from there, I was very much addicted to, at the same time, the game that I played. It's Call of Duty Mobile. They released it in October of 2019, and I was playing that easily about 12 hours a day, because this was when I was making a transition from my previous appointment, going back, trying to like start off my digital again. And this was also around the time when presidential elections was around, so nothing was happening. So I would just, just be playing games.
Yeah.
And so both of these kind of like coincided, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm decent in this game, right? I think I'm decent. I have all of this knowledge when it comes to, television, comes to radio. Let's use it, and let's start a gaming channel. So we start streaming. Then, of course, came the question of where do we stream. So I stream on Facebook Gaming. Facebook Gaming is a relatively newer platform. So when I joined it, there were less than 200,000 streamers. Now there's well over 1 million. So I started in January of 2020. And I opted for this rather than the very popular streaming service, which is Twitch. One was discoverability. The other was the fact that You already have about 6 million users on it who are streamers. And then you have this, which it also has discoverability internal in it. It's a new
Right.
market. There's a 1 billion population who's already on Facebook. So, like you did the math and it was like, okay, Facebook made the more sense, even more than
Sense.
YouTube. Again, because YouTube also doesn't have very good discoverability for streaming unless you've actually clicked on a live
Right.
prior. So that's kind of like how I started. And it's been now a year and some, and I don't regret it. I stream at godforsaken hours in Sri Lanka. I stream at 12:30 in the mornings because I cater to a more Western audience because I wanted to focus on the fact that English was my fluency. And instead of trying to fight for a very small niche in Sri Lanka, I was like, look, let's stop thinking Sri Lanka. That's why you have digital. This is where like the digital kind of like kicked in. Think
Yeah.
of the brand. Think of the potential customers or viewers that you'll have around the world. And then I
Right.
pushed and I started doing it at like 7 p.m. GMT would be like the time that I would start streaming. And I'll
Great.
do for about 4 hours, anywhere from 5 to 7 days a week.
Oh,
And then started, of course, the gaming talk show called What the Pod.
amazing. Fabulous, fabulous. Chase, I have to say, usually what people do is when they talk about one area and they switch into the other area, they don't bring the learnings from the first area and bring it to the other. What I liked about it is how you mentioned why you chose this platform, and it was based on digital marketing and ideas from that. So amazing, fabulous. So thank you very
And
much for
also
sharing them.
something that I yeah, something that I really liked about also what Chase shared was that, see, the audience in Sri Lanka for that particular area of gaming streaming can be very limited, but yet, like, the fact that he didn't stop there, he went
Yeah.
beyond that, and that desire of succeeding and his interest on it is clearly shown by the fact that he didn't say that I'm going to stop it or give up on it just because that he came across with different barriers, so which is amazing. Kudos to you, Chase, for that.
Thank you.
And something that I, again, this is a question that I'm sure most of the viewers also must be having, and if there is anyone who would want to join this particular area of gaming streaming, what does the future hold of gaming streaming and esports?
Okay. I apologize. I keep touching my face because it's just like Sri Lankan weather.
No worries.
Um,
It's only because of COVID you're not allowed to do it. If
Of course.
not,
it's my own faith. I'm at
If
home.
you're
I'm in the
Thanks. You're
safety.
most
I'm in
welcome.
the safety net right now. um, the industry as a whole is, as I know, even Mazin would have mentioned, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's only growing. Let's just put this into context here. The International, which is a Dota 2, is the game that is played. It started from mere peanuts to now being $40 million is their prize pool for 2020. They didn't have the 2020 event this year. With this year's earnings, they might even double it if they so choose to. So
fabulous. Amazing.
um, the gaming industry as a whole has changed so much. You had consoles, which then followed with PC. PC will always remain the top dog in the sense when it comes to graphics, performance, etc. But now, as of, I think the safest is to say since around 2018, 2019, you have games like PUBG, which got on mobile, Call of Duty, which got on mobile. And you know that they generated more. Activision, who is the publisher um, for Call of Duty Mobile, They have their other variant, which is called Warzone, which is played on PC and played on console. From just Call of Duty Mobile, 2020 earnings were $10 billion. Warzone, which is on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, brought in under about 8.2 billion. Yeah, we're just touching the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the future of gaming. The future of gaming will have its mobility side. Will it continue to expand? Yes, it will. The Olympics is having a virtual series. It's not because of the pandemic. They were going to do it anyway last year. They opted instead to, of course, push it for this year. So you have cycling, sailing, baseball, and like a few other sports. I think GT as well. So these are things is actually happening right now. So esports as a whole, it's just that the pandemic brought more light to it, to a industry which is bigger than Hollywood, probably even Hollywood and Bollywood, maybe even combined at the rate that it's currently going. Because people, that instant gratification that you get with in-game spending is not something that you get while watching a movie. You watch the movie, it's done, over with. But this, you'll have it. You'll have like a skin, a sort of cosmetic for your character, or for the gun that you're using, or for any other sort of accessories that you have. So I can say very confidently that this is just the beginning for the world of gaming, streaming, and esports, because those are different verticals in their own right, part of the main ecosystem.
Yeah. Amazing, absolutely amazing, Chase. And of course, as much as we see all the big numbers, and of course we talk numbers, there can also be like someone who is looking at us right now could be thinking, is the picture as rosy as he says? So to ask that question, I would direct it to Yoga, because I don't want to fall in trouble here.
Well, I'm not
What
going
about
to
you?
ask that question. No,
No,
no.
please.
Yeah, I'm going to ask that question, but before
I
that,
want you to ask that question.
fabulous. I'm going to ask you that question, but I have to say why I said I'll not ask that question is because we also did some research about gaming, and we saw everything that you said and more. So we learned that the Wimbledon prize money is less than the overall team prize that is given at the international.
Oh,
That is how much
yeah,
it has grown. So there
Yeah.
is no doubt about the numbers that you are mentioning here
yeah.
whatsoever, because that is where it has gone. When it doubles it, I'm sure it's going to be even more great.
You realize that the teams that hit top 10 are all going to be instant millionaires.
That's right. Uh, that's right.
But getting to
And
the top 10 is something else. That is,
that's
it's highly competitive.
yeah, but getting when you get there, then that your life is settled. But I think the beauty of that is, who would have thought, like, some of the top millionaires in the world who are very young, 20, 22 years old, are people who are playing games. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so that's
Yeah.
that's amazing to see.
Yeah.
Chase, now coming back to Sri Lanka, this is an industry that could grow and succeed and take us actually to the world stage, like cricket did for us in the past and is doing still. And you are one of those people who have taken a first step to build a brand, and one of the co-founders of the Lankan League. So tell us about the vision behind it, the purpose behind it, and the direction that you're trying to take Lankan League towards.
Nice.
So, again, accessibility is something which we now have with mobile gaming, because it's easier for you to, with any phone from about 40,000 rupees and above, you'll be able to, or even 30,000 probably, you'll be able to play these games.
Right.
So accessibility is very high. So something which we wanted to do is, with that being there, and the fact that even my community as well has always asked me, to do um, tournaments, and something which I have been apprehensive. I have shoutcasted tournaments which we have had prize pools of about 200,000 rupees, international tournaments, but I never really wanted to do my own thing. Then I decided maybe it's time to venture into this, because one part is I have had the pleasure of meeting some amazing streamers internationally, based in, for example, like in Malaysia, Dubai, UK, to the States, and with them also their communities, and what Lankan League's objective is with these contacts and these and expanding on that further, is to give even the Sri Lankan community more opportunities to compete with international teams and players. So that's kind of like what we really want to do, and at the same time be part of that growth. That there are some brands which are doing some amazing work, which have been in the forefront of paving the way. We have to give them credit where credit's due. But at the same time, there's definitely more room for it, because there's only so much any event organizing a body can do, and we wanted to contribute to that. One is to the growth in Sri Lanka, and then afterwards to help expand that into other parts of the world. So that's Lankan League as a nutshell. Hopefully one day we will have our own 40 million prize pool.
Amazing. I think any great thing was built with a dream. So congratulations to you on founding it, co-founding it,
Thank
and
you.
then giving the platform for many youngsters to come play, be part of it, and then hopefully succeed and go bigger. That's fabulous. And also we have to say we watched one of your games already, that was organized, event that was organized at Bakes by Bella, and that was very interesting to see. So anybody who's watching who's not a gamer, if you do not even understand gaming but want to see two people fighting with each other, not in a literal sense, but then on a virtual
in a virtual sense,
virtual sense, and you would enjoy competition, and if you like games, then you will definitely like them. So please be kind enough to follow every page that Chase is in. He official of Chase is, if you search for official of Chase anywhere in, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn or anywhere else, you will be able to find it, and then follow it, and then go and be part of his events in the future.
That's also always another thing. Pro tip:
Yeah.
standardize your username across all social media.
Platforms.
Makes it easy.
Fabulous.
Then all
As
you gotta
easy
do is
as
just
that.
put that, and then just put the logos underneath it on your business card. Makes it so much easier.
So much easier. Fabulous. Thank you very much for adding that too. Let's move to Donna for a question. Donna?
Of course. Well, I think yoga very conveniently avoided the question that I really wanted to ask. So let me roll up my sleeves and get into it now.
Go
All
for
that I
it.
want to know is, Chase, like, of course, as we see, like, everyone is talking like good about this gaming industry. I just want to know, like, is there any dark side to it that people really do not see?
Yes.
As
There
easy
is.
as that. Is there a dark side? Definitely. What would that be, Chase?
Um, there's a few. I think one is when you start off
Yeah, so
streaming,
I would definitely want to know about it.
yeah. So this is not to put anyone off streaming, but this is kind of like the reality of what it is. If you take, for example, uh, streamers, young streamers, more often than not, this is kind of like all that they have done, you know. So if a lot of more often than not, you tend to have streamers who will get into it, they'll put everything into this, and they don't necessarily have something to fall back on. It's something which even Joe Rogan expressed in one of his podcasts as well. It was taken a bit out of context by the gaming community, but what he really meant there was, you know, it's okay to do this, but also have a backup plan.
Right.
What else are you going to do? Um, so with that also comes the other thing of the lack of uh, interpersonal relationships, because when you're younger you tend to use more profanity as well. So what happens more often than not is you tend to have streamers who can tend to be a bit toxic in the way that they talk and whatnot. And that does, negativity does attract more than positivity for some weird reason in this world. And that can always build a community which is maybe not like the most best that you would want. Then if you take in the aspects of a streamer, our mental health is definitely something that is not talked about. It's not easy streaming for anywhere from 8 hours a day. It takes a lot out of you. You're constantly talking and interacting with people. You're playing the video game. The video game is not perfect. It has its own set of bugs which keep frustrating you. And then sometimes you will have these moments where you try to stay calm, but you might blow up on stream. And sometimes you don't see the progress that you hope that you would see. More often than not, a lot of people get into streaming thinking, hey, you know what? I'll start streaming today. I'm gonna make a couple $100 tomorrow. It's not. It takes a lot of work in building communities, because there's always other options. The if you look at it, so it's tough. You tend to spend a lot of time content creating. You tend to lose on a lot of sleep. I sleep anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, and sometimes that also is not at a stretch. That'll be like two different, because with everything else that I'm doing, it's just trying to balance everything out. So it can be unhealthy as well. So those are kind of like the darker side of streaming, because you're doing this on your own, in the sense, if you take radio, having been in it, being the radio personality, I go in, I sit down, all I have to technically do is come up with talking segments, things to talk about. My playlist is made for me. My commercials are there. Depending on which software is used, all of it is pretty much automated, and you barely have to do anything there. But you still have to give 100% to your show. But there's other people who are there working with you. In this, it's just you, your computer, you trying to figure out what you want to do. And then you have the social stigmas to also worry about. People asking, what are you doing with your life? And you're like, you know there are a lot of those things too, which come with it. So while, yes, what we talked about, all the great things, these are kind of like the more personal things which streamers go through. And streamers have burnouts. They sometimes, top tier 1%, that level streamers, they've even taken like sometimes in like 1 month off from streaming for at least a couple of days. I know I tend to keep at least about 2 days sometimes off. If I'm burning out, I tend to keep about 2 days off. But there are times that you are there seated, ready to go, and you just don't want to press the go live button, but this is your job. You got to think of this as a job and do it. Because if it was anything else, you don't have that opt out option. So yeah, those are, I guess, the darker sides of streaming. I say it with a smile.
No, no. I think also Chase. I'm sure you would agree the negativity you receive. Like there are a lot of people who also comment negatively, and
Yeah, thank you very much, Faye, for being candid.
You're
yeah.
welcome.
So the negativity that people create and the negative feedback could also weigh a lot in you, right? It could
Yeah,
create that feeling where whatever you do is not enough, right?
yeah.
So
Oh,
these
it
are
does. It does. It definitely does. Because at the end of the day, we all have our insecurities.
yeah.
And I think one of the biggest insecurities any person would have is, am I ever good enough at anything that you do in life? Right. And when you get negativity coming in sometimes on chat, it does, sometimes like put you off a little bit, and you kind of need to like realign yourself. So yes, you're right. That definitely does play a very big role.
That's right. We come to the last question, Chase. We are we just passed the 1 hour mark. Absolutely amazing. Didn't even know that 1 hour has passed. So the last question is, uh, what would be your advice for the future gaming enthusiasts? What would you say to them as a person who has not only been a gaming streamer but also founded something for to create and give a space for others to thrive and succeed? What would you say? What would you give? What would be your advice to the gaming enthusiasts?
I would start with something. I think in your previous podcast, when Donna was like, maybe I should get into streaming, when she was asking Mazin, there is a streamer on Facebook. She blew up. She plays Call of Duty Warzone, and her name is Tactical Grandma. She's 56 years old, if I'm not mistaken, and
Whoa!
she took up the role of gaming during the pandemic, and now she's a Facebook gaming partner. She gets anywhere from 500 to about 2,000 viewers in her streams. So what I would say is, one, it's not just the
Wow.
younger audience, it's also the older and our age. If you want to do something, understand that there was a time you being a musician was taboo. It's not anymore. Understand that there was a time, if you even take sport, I had this conversation also with someone the other day. Actually, on What the Pod yesterday. If you take a sport, if you look at it in a critical point of view, it's 22 people running behind a ball. That's
Yeah.
football. If you just put it in the very, the way that people look at gaming, if you look at it in those same eyes, that's how you look at that. But yet they get millions and millions, or hundreds and thousands of endorsements and deals. If you want to do it, by all means, try it out. I will tell you, it is not easy. It takes work. It takes effort. Don't do the thing which I did, which was pretty much go all in on it, because mine was circumstance. With pandemic hitting, it just pushed me in that direction. Um, but try it. Like start with like once a week, twice a week. Don't overly invest on your equipment. Start with what you have. And if it's something that you enjoy doing, it doesn't matter how old you are. You can be your 40s, father of two, or a mother of two. Gender doesn't
Or a
really
grandma
matter.
who's 56.
Or a grandmother as well. you know you can definitely do that, because people like entertainment, people like content. And I think one more thing which you really do need to think about is your unique selling point. I play Call of Duty Mobile. So do many other Facebook gaming partners that I've collaborated with. What makes a person not watch them and watch me? If it's just about your gameplay, then you don't necessarily need to stream, but you need to add something more to it. You need to create that community. And I've been very fortunate where my community is predominantly from overseas, and and then Sri Lanka.
Right.
Um, because we have viewers from who have also joined us even here today,
Yeah.
from India to Scotland, England, South Africa, to even the States, Canada, just naming like a few countries. So have fun doing it, and then if you want to make it, as age is just a number.
Exactly.
Um, if it's something that you really want to do it, and then build on it and see how you can make it grow. Because if you're doing something, you always need to look at the growth aspect of it, in some shape or form. So for me, it was the stream, and then there's Lankan League, and there's What the Pod. which is the three verticals which I am involved in for the moment. But there is more. There's more in the pipeline in that ecosystem. Uh,
Amazing.
so
Wish you the
we got
best,
to think.
Chase. Wish you the best. It's
Thank
this.
Yeah.
you.
This is amazing to hear because there are people who will do this as part time, but then you're not only doing it full time, but then also you are doing it in many different areas. So that's great. That's great. Thank you very much, Chase. Before Donna concludes, I would like to say thank you very much. It has been nothing but an absolute pleasure speaking to
Thank
you,
you.
learning digital marketing, how to tell stories, and also touch base again upon the gaming world. So thank you very much for taking time to share the knowledge, experience, and the future with us. We will hopefully have you back again, and let's talk back again about gaming and the progress that you have made. Till such time, we wish you the very best
Thank
and
you so
wish you
much.
all the success in the world.
And also, I gotta say, absolutely fantastic the fact that the two of you have started the Rainmakers podcast. It's, I think, which I mentioned off air, which I should mention on air, the fact that apart from probably people who are actually involved in gaming, the two of you are probably the first two that I have actually had an engaging conversation with, who's open to the topic of gaming and who's actually shedding some awareness on it. And good luck to the two of you as well. I would love to be back on on your podcast, you know, at another time.
Definitely.
And wish you guys all the very best and hope that this becomes a very thriving podcast for the two of you.
Thank you very much, Donna.
Thank you very much. It's absolutely amazing. I think this session was very, very interesting. As Yoga said, we didn't even feel that this 1 hour really passed. So we are wishing you all the best. And as you said, we really do. We are looking forward to see Lankan League winning that $40 million and then having you back again with a glorious interview. So we would love to do the honors for the first time to interview you after the $40 million. And so, yes, we are looking forward to that, and we are really wishing you all the best to make all your dreams, your vision. We really do hope that it will come true, and loads of energy and power to you to get there. So, thank you
Thank
very much.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. This is the seventh episode of the Rainmakers podcast. We will see you back again on next week, Wednesday.